One thing in retrospect in regards to myself is that I'm not a materialistic person. I'm not high maintenance. I'm not any of these things. Honestly, it's it's just something that I had to learn to adapt to ultimately becoming. And I'm one of the most simplistic people there is. I catch a vibe like I'm when I catch a vibe like I'm super chill. And I'm one of these people that, finds distractions and like clothes shopping for like new drip, or purchasing a luxury car and like diamonds and designer clothes and designer brands and things of nature. And it's one thing that's been a huge misconception that I had to like clear the air of any misconceptions or misunderstandings or miscommunication, because I feel like, as a content creator, as a public figure, a public influencer, whatever you want to call it, you know, and it's just one of those things where I have to force myself to constantly, not really, yes, conform, but be rebellious at the same time, push against boundaries and limitations, push against status quo, and allowing people to, being myself, authentic self, and inspiring and influencing other people to, for them, they themselves to think outside of the box, to question everything around them, and in order to adjusting their mindset through something optimistic, allowing their minds to travel outside of the cosmic chaos of like the universe and embracing that collectively, and reprogramming your mind, reconfiguring your mind, reshaping your mind for something better. And that's all premise and purpose. The sole purpose of my videos is to influence and inspire, to change your perspective and change the way that you look at things. However, it's like, in order to keep up with the trends and whatnot, and like, just to stay, basically stay relevant, if you want to keep wearing the crown of success, to be the GOAT, to stay relevant, to stay significant, you have to kind of more or less conform yourself, as painful as that is to me personally, because I'm not a conformist by any means. I've always pushed against the boundaries. I've always been thought provoking. I've always allowed people the psychological depths to travel inside of themselves, and to, through my art, allow them to unearth the gateways within themselves, that positive inspiration within themselves. And it's a fire that's constantly burning inside of each of us, and people don't even recognize it. They don't even acknowledge it. They don't even care to acknowledge it. And so their minds are still submerged inside of the matrix, and it's just unfucking real, you know. And I embody the chaos. I embody a duality, encompassing a balance and duality, you know. So, whenever I experience heartbreaks and disappointments from people, whenever I get let down, whenever I feel extremely lonely and isolated, and my dark thoughts and my headspace trapped in my feels and my negative emotions, or whatever else, or a negative aspect of my life that has become much too chaotic, I have no idea how to control it or revert it. The only way I know how to redirect that chaos is into shopping for new drip, buying feeling good about my luxury car, my Audi out here, just materialistic shit, bullshit, bullshit, diamonds, my neck and my wrists, and fucking new shit, But however, I remind myself consciously that brings a temporary sense of happiness, money, and the clothes. I have everything in my life, and I don't fuck with nobody. I don't have any real friends. At the end of the day, I have 1,000 things to say, and nobody really to tell it to. I think, right, there's two people in my life, or one or two people in my life, and that's about it. And my life is otherwise, irrelevant and insignificant in the eyes of other people, because they only see me for my material wealth. That's the only time that my existence, my mortality is acknowledged. Being attractive to others, having all these designer brands and clothes, and standing out from the crowds, and being a nonconformist, and being my authentic and real self, and like my luxury cars, and like having the best shit ever. And then, that's just the only way, unfortunately, people recognize you for. You've got to be hella attractive. You've got to. I'm just a pretty face to a lot of these women around. I've got a fucking nice ass car. I've got designer clothes. Like, I've got a lot of shit to show for. But at the end of the day, in all realness and rawness, in retrospect, I have no real friends. I have, like I said, I've got like two people in my life, and that's it. Otherwise, everyone else has abandoned me. Everyone else is, they don't care of how I feel, what I think on a regular basis. They don't care if I'm alive or not. And, I just, as long as I keep pushing the videos out, and as long as I keep buying a brand new drip, and new clothes, designer brands, and fresh brand new diamonds, and this fucking like luxury cars and shit, and they don't care about people's addictions, they don't care about people's struggles, they don't care about what they're going through or experiencing in life or whatever. And it's one of the most sad, like, unfortunate, sick, disturbing, fucked up things that I cannot wrap my consciousness and my heart around, because I've always been the type of person, I've always been a hopeless romantic at heart. So naturally, like, being a Pisces, being emotional, I always made sure, I always make damn sure that everybody else's mental health is good. Like, I always offer myself to them in whatever, in every way possible. If I can just give them a hug, or if I could just talk to them, say a few words of positive affirmations or a prayer, divine blessings, and like, if I can like help them empower themselves, and then that's ultimately my greatest vision of what I do and my purpose, my videos, and everything that I've ever had to embody into my videos, into my art, into my creative outlook, into my affirmations in everyday life, and encompassing my morality, my everyday existence. It's all towards how to like change the world around me, and like share positive influences and knowledge with someone else, and just try to be there for them as best as possible, because I'm not perfect myself. I don't have all the answers in the entire universe. I am currently, and always will be, a student of the universe. I'm always trying to help people, to teach them, like trying to help guide people for the better. I mean, that's all I can do. So if I've inspired you, if I've brought a positive influence in your life, and I'm truly blessed and grateful for that.